Hare Krishna, friends. I am back with all of you to continue reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 12, and we are going to start today the first reading from text 7. But before we do that, please join me for the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 7. Maturgarbhat gato viraha sa tada bhragunandana dadarsha purusham kachidhyamanostratejasa. Translation: O son of Bhrigu, Shaunaka, when the child Parikshit, the great fighter, was in the womb of his mother Uttara and was suffering from the burning heat of the Brahmastra thrown by Ashwathama, he could observe the Supreme Lord coming to him. Purport: death generally involves remaining in trance for 7 months. A living being, according to his own action, is allowed to enter into the womb of a mother by the vehicle of a father's semen, and thus he develops his desired body. This is the law of birth in specific bodies according to one's past actions. When he is awake from trance, he feels the inconvenience of being confined within the womb, and thus he wants to come out of it, and sometimes fortunately prays to the Lord for such liberation. Maharaj Parikshit, while in the womb of his mother, was struck by the Brahmastra released by Ashwathama, and he was feeling the burning heat. But because he was a devotee of the Lord at once appeared himself within the womb by his all-powerful energy, and the child could see that someone else had come to save him. Even in that helpless condition, the child Parikshit endured the unbearable temperature due to his being a great fighter by nature, and for this reason the word viraha has been used. Viraha has been used. Text 8. Angushthamatramalam Sfurat Puratmaulinam Apivya darshanam shyamam tadidvasa samachyutam. Translation: he, the Lord, was only thumb high, but he was all transcendental. He had a very beautiful blackish infallible body, and he wore a dress of lightning yellow and a helmet of blazing gold. Thus he was seen by the child. Text 9. Srimad Dirgha Chaturbahum Tapta Kanchana Kundalam Kshatrajagyam Gada Pani Matmanaha Sarvatodisham Paribrahmanta Mulkabham Brahmayantam Gadam Muhum. Translation: the Lord was enriched with 4 hands, earrings of molten gold, and eyes blood red with fury. As he loitered about, his club constantly encircled him like a shooting star. Purport: it is said in the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, that the Supreme Lord Govinda, by his one plenary portion, enters into the halo of the universe and distributes himself as Paramatma or the Super Soul, not only within the heart of every living being, but also within every atom of the material elements. Thus the Lord is all pervading by His inconceivable potency, and thus He entered the womb of Uttara to save His beloved devotee Maharaj Parikshit. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 31, the Lord assured everyone that His devotees are never to be vanquished. No one can kill a devotee of the Lord because he is protected by the Lord, and no one can save a person whom the Lord desires to kill. The Lord is all powerful, and therefore He can both save and kill as He likes. He became visible to His devotee Maharaja Parikshit even in that awkward position in the womb of his mother, in a shape just suitable for his vision. The Lord can become bigger than thousands of universes and can become smaller than an atom at the same time. Merciful as He is, He becomes just suitable to the vision of the limited living being. He is unlimited. He is not limited by any measurement of our calculation. He can become bigger than what we can think of, and He can become smaller than what we can conceive. But in all circumstances, He is the same all-powerful Lord. There is no difference between the thumb-like Vishnu in the womb of Uttara and the full-fledged Narayana in the Vaikuntha Dhama, the kingdom of Godhead. He accepts the form of Archa Vigraha, worshipable deity, just to accept service from His different incapable devotees. By the mercy of the Archa Vigraha, the form of the Lord in material elements, the devotees who are in the material world can easily approach the Lord, although He is not conceivable by the material senses. The Archa Vigraha is therefore an all spiritual form of the Lord to be perceived by the material devotees. Such an Archa Vigraha of the Lord is never to be considered material. There is no difference between matter and spirit for the Lord, although there is a gulf of difference between the two in the case of the conditioned living being. For the Lord, there is nothing but spiritual existence, and similarly, there is nothing except spiritual existence for the pure devotee of the Lord in his intimate relation with the Lord. Text 10. Astra tejah swagadaya niharamiva gopatihi vidhamantam samnirkashe paryakshataka ityasau. Translation. The Lord was thus engaged in vanquishing the radiation of the Brahmastra, just as the sun evaporates a drop of dew. He was observed by the child who thought about who he was. Text 11. Vidhuya tad me atma bhagavan dharma gub vibhuhu mishato dashamasasya tatraivantar dadhe harihi. Translation. While thus being observed by the child, the Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul of everyone, and the Protector of the righteous, who stretches in all directions and who is unlimited by time and space, disappeared at once. Purport. Child Parikshit was not observing a living being who is limited by time and space. There is a gulf of difference between the Lord and the individual living being. The Lord is mentioned herein as the supreme living being unlimited by time and space. Every living being is limited by time and space. Even though a living being is qualitatively one with the Lord, quantitatively there is a great difference between the Supreme Soul and the common individual soul. In the Bhagavad Gita, both the living beings and the Supreme Being are said to be all-pervading. Yena sarvam idam tatam. Yet there is a difference between these two kinds of all-pervasiveness. A common living being or soul can be all-pervading within his own limited body, but the supreme living being is all-pervading in all space and at all time. A common living being cannot extend its influence over another common living being by its all pervasiveness, but the Supreme Supersoul, the personality of Godhead, is unlimitedly able to exert his influence over all places and all times and over all living beings. And because he is all pervasive, unlimited by time and space, he can appear even within the womb of the mother of child Parikshit. He is mentioned herein as the protector of the righteous. Anyone who is a surrendered soul unto the Supreme is righteous, and he is specifically protected by the Lord in all circumstances. The Lord is the indirected protector of the unrighteous also, for he rectifies their sins through his external potency. The Lord is mentioned herein as one who is dressed in the 10 directions. This means dressed with garments on 10 sides up and down. He is present everywhere and can appear and disappear at his will from everywhere and anywhere. His disappearance from the sight of the child Parikshit does not mean that he appeared on the spot from any other place. He was present there, and even after his disappearance, he was there, although invisible to the eyes of the child. This material covering of the effulgent firmament is also something like a womb of the Mother Nature, and we are all put into the womb by the Lord, the Father of all living beings. He is present everywhere, even in this material womb of Mother Durga, and those who are deserving can see the Lord. Text 12. ततः सर्वगुणोदर्के सानुकूलग्रहोदये जज्ञे वंशधरः पाण्डोर्भूयः पाण्डुरिवौजसा. Translation. Thereupon, when all the good signs of the zodiac gradually evolved, the heir apparent of Pandu, who would be exactly like him in prowess, took birth. Purport. Astronomical calculations of stellar influences upon a living being are not suppositions but are factual as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Every living being is controlled by the laws of nature at every minute, just as a citizen is controlled by the influence of the state. The state laws are grossly observed, but the laws of material nature, being subtle to our gross understanding, cannot be experienced grossly. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 9, every action of life produces another reaction which is binding upon us, and only those who are acting on behalf of Yajna or Vishnu are not bound by reactions. Our actions are judged by the higher authorities, the agents of the Lord, and thus we are awarded bodies according to our activities. The law of nature is so subtle that every part of our body is influenced by the respective stars, and a living being obtains his working body to fulfill his terms of imprisonment by the manipulation of such astronomical influence. A man's destiny is therefore ascertained by the birth time constellation of stars, and a factual horoscope is made by a learned astrologer. It is a great science, and misuse of a science does not make it useless. Maharaja Parikshit, or even the personality of Godhead, appear in certain constellations of good stars, and thus the influence is exerted upon the body thus born at an auspicious moment. The most auspicious constellation of stars takes place during the appearance of the Lord in this material world, and it is specifically called Jayanti, a word not to be abused for any other purposes. Maharaja Parikshit was not only a great Kshatriya emperor but also a great devotee of the Lord. Thus he cannot take his birth at any inauspicious moment. At a proper place and time is selected, as a proper place and time is selected to receive a respectable personage, so also to receive such a personality as Maharaja Parikshit, who was especially cared for by the Supreme Lord. A suitable moment is chosen when all good stars assemble together to exert their influence upon the king. Thus he took his birth just to be known as the great hero of Srimad Bhagavatam. This suitable arrangement of astral influences is never a creation of man's will, but is the arrangement of the superior management of the agency of the Supreme Lord. Of course, the arrangement is made according to the good or bad deeds of the living being. Herein lies the importance of pious acts performed by the living being. Only by pious acts can one be allowed to get good wealth, good education, and beautiful features. The samskaras of the school of Sanatana Dharma, man's eternal engagement, are highly suitable for creating an atmosphere for taking advantage of good stellar influences, and therefore Garbhadana Samskara, or the first seedling purificatory process prescribed for the higher castes in the beginning of all pious acts to receive a good, pious, and intelligent class of men in human society. There will be peace and prosperity in the world due to good and sane population only. There is hell and disturbance only because of the unwanted, insane populace addicted to sex indulgence. With this, we'll end the first reading. I will see you all back with the second reading very soon. Till then, have a wonderful, purposeful, conscious life. Hare Krishna.